Okay. In a well-functional education system, missing just 5 minutes a day will cost a student 3 days of learning hours a year. If a student misses 10 minutes a day, that will be equal to 7 days of learning hours a year. But if a student continuously misses 15 minutes every day, that will cost them 10 days of learning hours a year. A lot, right? But what if a student misses a semester, an entire year, 2 years? What if he or she is deprived of getting education at all? What if that is based on her gender? How will that influence her dreams, her future vision, and her academic success? Well, I can tell, since I was one of those girls. And today, as I speak to you, millions of girls are deprived of their basic human right to get basic education. Girls' education has been banned twice in Afghanistan. The first wave of girls with interrupted education come from the early 90s, and it went on until 2001. The Afghan education system needed 20 years to recover from this gap. Unfortunately, history repeated itself in 2022, and girls were banned to go to school again. Oh. Yeah. Despite this all, feminism and women empowerment is not a new term in Afghanistan. In the time that many suffragettes around the world were fighting for their rights, Afghan girls could study and vote in 1919. Our queen, Soraya Tarzi, as you can see in the picture, she was a fierce women's rights activist. Not only did she inspire a lot of Afghan girls, but even today, women like Malala Yousafzai see her as inspiration. I myself come from the first wave of girls with interrupted education. My journey was a difficult one. My parents were my only teachers. My father, a construction engineer. My mother, teacher of biology and chemistry. They taught me every possible subject they could think of, and they did a good job. They say, behind every successful man, there is a woman. But in Afghanistan, it's the opposite. In my case, it was my father, my grandfather, and my husband. However, my grandfather here, he was my biggest supporter. He used to teach me English. He himself was graduated from the University of Utah 60 years back from today. He had served as Deputy Minister of Agriculture in 3 different governments, and he was the first and only expert in his field. He motivates me still. However, in our community, we are expected to just pick up education after a war or interruption. But my interrupted education had some very bad side effects on me. Besides war trauma, PTSD, and cultural differences, I missed structure when I went back to school. Planning, group assignments, and the culture of working together was alien to me. I used to procrastinate things because I was not used to schedules. I was free all the time. I remember when I arrived in the Netherlands in 1995. Mr. Kofi Annan was recently awarded with the Nobel Prize of Peace. In many of his speeches, he used the example of an Afghan girl, a 5-year-old Afghan girl who was deprived of education. He said something very powerful regarding that. He said, scientists tell us that the world of nature is so interconnected that if a butterfly flaps its wings at the rainforest of the Amazon, it can create a violent storm on the other side of the world. He called it the butterfly effect. And he believed that human activity had its own butterfly effect. And if we wanted, we could eradicate female illiteracy. This was powerful. This was powerful because it made me image conscious. I was shocked. I was shocked by realization that this was the picture of an Afghan girl in the world. I was that 5-year-old Afghan girl. It was my story. It was my sister's story. It was my cousin's story. It was my classmate's story, and I didn't like it. His speech was also very motivating. His speech was very motivating. It motivated me in such a way that I was determined to change this image. It fueled my dream in such a way that it created a hurricane of ambition, and I was determined to change this image. So I immediately started my studies at O-level in Netherlands. I majored in life sciences after that and worked as a biomedical research analyst for a few years. A few years back, I decided to do my master's in biomedical sciences at the University of Groningen, and my dreams were fulfilled. Today, I feel honored that the University of Groningen gave me the opportunity and platform to tell my story. The university that gave the Netherlands its first female doctor and empowered women like Aletta Jacobs. You might associate her with the orange exam halls at the Zernike complex, but for me, she's the epitome of Dutch feminism. Together with Rosalind Franklin and Marie Curie, she still inspires me. So what do you have in common with a woman from the sepia-colored photographs of the 18th century, you will ask? Well, a lot. First, our common ambition to get higher education in biomedical sciences. Secondly, we both care for women's health. How is that relevant in this era, you will ask? Very relevant, I will tell, because global health concerns us all. And Afghanistan, at this moment, is the only country in the world where not only women are allowed to get education, but they also cannot practice medicine. Maternal mortality is the highest in Afghanistan, and yet male doctors are not allowed to treat them. This comparison highlights perfectly that even today, gender apartheid in education and healthcare care is an issue. That even today, women die at birth, and there is a need for more female physicians and researchers. Aletta learned me to extend my limits, to invest in women's health. My first research project was therefore also about preeclampsia. It's a hypertension condition during pregnancy. And I hope to continue it someday. Now imagine, what if Aleta's dream gets another dimension? What if we become that butterfly effect of human activity and eradicate women illiteracy? What if the cure of cancer is trapped in the head of a refugee girl in Benin or Afghanistan or Ukraine? The question is not mine, but it still is a relevant question. It is an honest question. And we will only know the answer if we give those girls the opportunity. We as academics can stand by them. We can vouch for them. And we can create opportunities for them. At this moment, there are a lot of online schools, but they are very basic, and they don't have national or international relevance. Imagine if every institution in the world takes the responsibility to educate at least 2 girls from those less fortunate countries. Imagine the capacity of these girls and the diversity that they will bring along. In 2001, we witnessed that many diaspora or Afghans abroad came back to Afghanistan and participated in education sector, in healthcare sector, or even in state building. This can happen everywhere. Of course, interrupted education was just an example. I want you to know that no matter what obstacle there is between you and your dreams, that you should keep in mind that in the race of success, stamina is more important than speed. Grit, perseverance, passion, and stamina are the most important drives for success. Do not let them tell you you cannot do it. You are not good enough. Science is not made for you, but you are old. Read, search, write, and most important of all, find your deficiencies and work on it. We live in the era of endless possibilities, a lot of resources and technology. Use that. Thank you very much for your attention.